Well, I had a time where everything was going amazing for me. Like I had many years, a lot of life where everything went amazing for me, if I'm being honest. And I was like a super attractor. Like all of us are when we're first put onto the earth, right? When we're first put here into existence. And I learned to tap into that at a very early age, paying homage to my dad. Like that's the way he raised us. He had an unshakable faith in what he did. But when I lost it, baby, when I lost it, I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I mean, I wasn't doing anything different than what I originally had done. I was meditating and journaling and trying to be positive. And like doing all the same stuff just wasn't working for me anymore. I just really didn't understand what was going on. But when I realized later that I had been through a traumatic experience. I mean, it really changed so much for me when I closed my business in 2018. I mourned that shit like it was a baby, okay? And it was the first time that I really failed at anything in life. And I do mean the first time I've ever failed at anything in life. And I understand that I'm privileged to even say something like that. But I have to be honest with you guys, I've always been an overachiever. I've always gotten what I set out to do. And to not have something materialize after I put my all into it and fail so publicly, I just really lost my confidence in who I was and my decisions. And, now I realize that was just my perception. My people, my tribe, they still hold me in very high regards with anything I've ever helped them with. And from that aspect, it was very much projecting, right? Projecting how I felt internally out into the world. But at that moment, looking at my self-valuation and my self-worth, that's what really stood out to me. And it really unraveled a lot of other shit that I realized, I had been basically basing my entire personality off of my ability to be intelligent, to lead, to accomplish things. And when that was gone, I just really didn't know who I was or even what I was doing. So not only did I not have a business, I didn't have a fucking job. Okay. So now self-esteem, or the complete absence of it, is looking me in the face. Relationships are looking me in the face. Past decisions are looking me in the face. Every insecurity and uncomfortable emotion are looking me in the face. All right. It all just been dropped on my doorstep. And on top of all that, I had hustled. I hustled so hard for so many years. I wasn't even sure how to be a girl anymore. Like I didn't even know how to truly enjoy the things that are awesome about being a woman. I couldn't connect with people anymore. Everything was very transactional. Everything was very, meaningless and just, there really wasn't a point to doing things. And I was uncomfortable with affection, like seriously, like so much that I was concerned, and I went to therapy. So like I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, look, Keisha, I miss having connections with my people, the people that I care about. I think I'm broke. I think I broke myself. Can you help me? And, I tell her, I don't know what's wrong, but I have this brick wall that I don't allow people in. I don't let them get to know me, and I'm not very vulnerable. I'm kind of standoffish, and I'm detached, and I just don't like it. And even as an introvert, I still have deep connection with certain people, with my people, and I miss that. And so this situation, this whole thing, it like revealed many holes in my persona and in my personality. And yeah, I looked real confident on the outside and stuff, like just like the rest of us, like on the surface, it wasn't like I was like feeling like I was ugly or didn't feel good in my clothes or anything like that. It wasn't any of that. Like I wasn't hiding because I had, despite the fact that I gained 1 million pounds chasing a bag, aka self fucking neglect. But, I feel like most of us know we look good. Most of us feel good. We are confident in how we present ourselves and our personalities. We have no problems with how we present. It's what we're hiding behind the clothes, what we're hiding behind the hard work, what we're hiding behind the personality, that what we're doing alone that we're insecure about. And that's where the idea for the French 47 Collective all started. I was doing research on the development of different personalities, like a stage personality, if you will. And it's not only a tool that I've been using my entire life, but it's one that I teach in the French 47 program. And the concept is that when you feel like you can't accomplish something on your own, I teach you how to create a persona, and you assume that role when you need to be saved, right? So the persona shows up to save you when you need saving without having to go outside of yourself. Well, when I was doing research for that, because, well, I wanted to have some scientific data behind it, you know, I like data. The people who are drawn to me like data, right? We want to see the numbers, okay? We want to know the evidence. We're like textbook overachievers, and we want to see it. So I wanted to make sure I had applicable shit that they can execute, right? So that's what I was looking for. And I came across this therapy called internal family systems. And I'm like, holy shit, bitch, okay? This thing I've been doing for all these years is a real scientific thing. Oh my God. So I look into it, immerse myself in it, and I realized you can literally therapize yourself. So by doing so, I created a parental role, right? So the concept behind this IFS is that none of us are just one singular mind or one singular personality. It's basically like code switching. The person who needs to come up and protect you when your body uses stress, right, to communicate, the fight, flight, or freeze tactic, it's communicated by chemical signals from your body that sends up to your brain. So for example, if you've been in a bad relationship, or you've been always cheated on, or dismissed, betrayed, and stuff like that, you know, your subconscious will begin to create a protector, if you will, which is really just the ego, but it will soothe you and take on a hyper independent persona in this case. So it's like, I don't need a man, fuck y'all, I can do it all by myself, I don't need friends either, blah, 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 fuck everybody, right? Well, if you don't check that bitch, she's going to ruin you. And then you're never going to have a man or a person or a friend or a pet, right? I mean, we can all get a man, right? Or a person or a pickle or whatever your desire. They're everywhere, but we want a good person, pickle, or man, right? So the goal is that these protectors, these personalities, they've served a purpose, right? Because they got you through this traumatic situation, this thing that you had to get over, right? This challenge you had to get through. But now it's time to say, hey, thank you for protecting me. I'm okay now, and I can do this on my own. So growing up, you know, I was the invisible kid. I didn't have like a person, a confidant. You know, my parents, they didn't acknowledge me a whole lot, and it wasn't because they didn't love me or anything like that. But it's just because I was the kid who was quiet, self-contained, self-entertained, and super independent, really. I like to read books. I was a nerd, bookworm, so they didn't have to worry about me a whole lot. Well, because of that, I basically raised myself, but I had a lot of insecurities about people not recognizing me or noticing me or not being acknowledged for my accomplishments, etc., etc. So after discovering IFS, I had this wild idea, like, yo, I'm going to create a parental role, because this is the thing that I've missed in my childhood, right? All trauma comes from childhood. So I created me a mama, which is nuts that I just thought to do this so recently when I've literally been making up personalities my entire life. And now that I'm damn near ready for AARP and I've got a eulogy already written up, now all of a sudden I decided to create a mama to solve all my problems. I guess better late than never. So when a kid needs support or feels sad, you don't respond to the kid, shut up, dummy, you shouldn't feel that way, right? Like we don't do that. So why do we do that to ourselves? I talk to myself in this parental role as though like I'm a 10-year-old, right? Like I'm talking to my niece or my nephew. It's like, no girl, you know that your whole worth doesn't boil down to no test that you just failed or the friends who like you. Your worth is not based on your salary or your position. Girl, you're fine, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're so dope. And I really talk to myself like that. And it stopped me from looking for outside validation, right? Like, you know how you go to pity yourself and you have to call the right friend because, you know, you can't call the friend who has the solutions when you really just want to cry and have somebody call them ugly with you, right? Like you don't want a solution. So like, I don't have a need for any of that anymore though. Like I don't need a fussing friend. I don't need a pity with me friend. I don't need a drink with me friend or any of that. Cause I'm gonna whip out Mama Ash or Big Sis. And I'm like, girl, you bugging. Let's talk about this. Girl, you see how cute you are. Did you looking at me? Girl, you a pink starburst, okay? You're the pink starburst, okay? So I'm like, oh my fucking God, I have to tell everybody about this. And because the reason that you're not living as beautiful as you are on the outside or attracting the desires that you say that you want is literally because you're living in your past. You cannot attain and attract something if you are stuck in the past, because you are reliving the same emotions and traumatic experience that happened before. So that means you are not in the right energy and frequency of happiness, what I like to call red car centered. So you know how like you go out, you buy a new car, you get this new red car, and now when you get on the street, all you fucking see is red cars, right? And so, you know, like attracts like. So just like that, your energy works the same. So if you're negative and fucked up, that's what you're gonna see in everything. You're gonna always find the negative to shine. But if you're happy and hopeful and looking out of the lens of love and compassion, you're going to see that in everything. It's all in your perception. So the red car syndrome is just like radio waves and light waves, where they move on a frequency and data is exchanged on a frequency. So your internal energy, your body is a whole entire energy for you with an electromagnetic field that puts out vibes. Like, the vibes is a thing. So being able to suck the energy out of a room is also a thing, all right? So for me to explain that to people when you need it, when you can't believe something outside of your brain, like you can't understand it, you can't wrap your minds around it, and it's like, you know, you're supposed to just have blind faith. And everybody says, I get it, right? But theoretically, because God's like, hey, I need you to have blind faith. And I mean, it's God. So you try to have blind faith, like it's God, okay? If anybody's going to pull the trump card, it's God, right? But realistically, God created all these modalities, right? What? Yes. Therapists, science, dope-ass spiritual coaches like me, so that he can meet you wherever you are. He speaks every language. And these modalities provide a way for you to partner with him to create a life designed exactly for you, by you, with him in the corner of your ring. Like, what else can you ask for? So if you need science to understand what I'm saying, for you to come and meet him halfway, then start walking, bitch, because I got you. I had to find a way to package this all up for my analytical mommies, my left brain hotties, and the rest of the girl gang that's on the fence, because I don't want them missing out on their villain era just because they needed a translator. You and I will not be nailed to the cross for drinking Remy and twerking a little bit when the 99 and the 2000s started taking over anymore than your super judgmental auntie who has been married thrice and gossips with Shirley about Deacon Price and Sister Pat, who is sleeping together, by the way, but you ain't hear that from me. My only mission is to present the message. Those who are ready will reveal themselves. But if you are even remotely curious, tap in, because I promise you, it's a better way to do life. Some people will have a breakthrough in 6 minutes, while some it'll take 60 days or 6 months. But when you really think about it, does the time really matter? I encourage you to sign up for the French 47 Collective Beta course. It is the one and only time you will be able to join and to take this course at no cost to you. Because I'm a teacher and I consider myself righteous, but God ain't saying nothing about being poor. Your auntie's Baptist church might have, but God didn't. Make sure you click the link below and apply for the beta course. We start on the new moon, March 21st.